unleashing the power of MENA Esports, navigating Uncharted challenges.
Okay, so I want to introduce our amazing moderator, xArshyy Faraghat, the esports host, streamer, and content and community manager of 404 Esports. A big round of applause, everyone, for our amazing moderator. We have Aravind, the co-founder and business development director of Calyx, Benedikt, the marketing director of Shikenso Analytics, and Paul. Yes, round of applause, everyone, for anyone that's coming on stage. We need a round of applause. And Paul from Holodeck Ventures. So everyone, enjoy this amazing panel. Come and sit down, join us. Thank you so much, xArshyy.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I know it's early, but bear with me. We'll try to be as entertaining as possible. So as she said, yes, my name is Arshiya Faraghat, also known as xArshyy, and today I will be moderating our panel called Unleashing the Power of MENA Esports, Navigating Uncharted Challenges, with our very talented panelists who will be discussing on the topic. So if you would be so kind to give us a brief introduction about yourself and what you do. So let's start with Benedikt.
Hi everyone, my name is Benedikt and I'm marketing director at Shikenso Analytics. So what is Shikenso Analytics doing is we are, so to say, the Google Analytics in esports, but instead of traffic on websites, we detect brand exposure. Yeah, so whether it's in picture, video, stream, social media, we detect it, we capture it, and we share it with our clients, this information.
Hey, I'm Aravind. I'm one of the co-founders of Calyx. We are an esports and gaming company based out of the UAE. We operate across the MENA. We specialize in running esports tournaments, broadcasts, production, as well as gaming content creation. Yeah, and we're actually partners with Benedikt there, so.
They gave me a mic that's turned off. I'm super loud anyways. I'm Paul Dawalibi. More people know me as the Prophet. I spent the last 25 years of my career on one side of the venture table or another, so I've been either investing in startups or building startups. About 8 years ago, I pivoted everything I was doing to gaming. I believe it's the future of fun. I host a show on CNBC Arabia called Game Changers. So I spend a lot of time talking about the gaming industry.
Thanks so much for your introductions there. I mean, there's a lot to learn about them, so be sure to go and check out their socials, go and check out Paul's show, and you guys will definitely not regret it. But let's jump into a little positivity for this panel first. So I'm going to be asking you what the unique opportunities that the MENA region presents for the growth and development for esports. Let's keep it a little lighthearted, something short. Paul, let's start with you, because I know you love to keep things lighthearted and positive.
Yeah, that's totally my brand. What does it represent for esports? Fundamentally, I think the MENA region is the last bastion of hope for professional esports. That's not positive, but that's the best I can do. And it's because, for the most part, for the longest time, esports has been a money loser. It's been a marketing activity. In other words, game publishers do esports so that more people play their game, more people buy in-game cosmetics, more people are exposed to their game. And so they're willing to lose money on paying professionals on a stage with an audience in a stadium to bring more attention to their game. I think the beauty of the Middle East today, when you have the Saudis pouring billions of dollars, when you have Abu Dhabi pouring a bunch of money into esports, when you have a lot of regional players all putting money into the system, is the profitability equation goes a little bit out the window.
I think just adding to that, that's perfectly well said. The opportunities is that the region right now realizes how big esports and gaming is, especially from whatever we've seen through Saudi. And there's a lot of money being pushed in, right? So there's obviously opportunity. You just have to jump and grab it. It's anything from esports organizers like myself content creators out there who either with a team, without a team, pretty much all sorts of opportunities are kind of present here, without pinpointing into one.
I'm just curious, can I ask a question? Can you guys raise your hand if you've watched an esports event? Okay, so almost no one, like 2 people. Like, what about even online, on Twitch, YouTube? Okay, 1 more hand.
Okay,
That's interesting. Okay.
Good statistics to start off with. We're feeling good about this. They care about us. Let's go on.
But it's interesting because is it skeptics? Is it you guys aren't the target audience? Like, what is it that makes you not watch or not tune in or not be interested? Like, I would love to know that, or I don't know if you guys have thoughts.
I mean, so I was a player once, and I became an esports organizer. Essentially, what is the divide is that I'd rather play the game than watch a bunch of kids play it. That's pretty much it. It's literally, that's the division. I'd rather play League of Legends than watch Liquid make it up there.
The problem is that argument doesn't hold water. I mean, Arshiya has hundreds of people watching her play games. They'd rather watch her than play games.
But esports out of the entire gaming population is still about 2 to 3%. It's not even that big. So what essentially they're doing is, yes, they started a good sector for teams to make money, for players to make money, and to nurture talent. But however, the viewing or the viewership of all these games is still comparatively very low.
So I definitely think it comes down to personal preference in the end. Your form of entertainment. Some people like watching movies. Some people like watching games. Some like playing the game. Some like watching other people playing the game. So I think it just comes down to personal preference. And perhaps right here is not the target audience that we have, but we have this panel to let them know that we exist. We are here. And that also reflects esports in the MENA region. Not many people know on what big of a scale it exists here. So that's what we're doing. We're still in the phase of growing. We can't say that we're comparable on a global scale at all at the moment, but we're working on it. And Benedikt, is there anything you want to add to that?
I mean, like, the big opportunity in esports for brands is actually to reach Gen Z audience. Yeah, if I look here in the audience today, probably there's like just a little match when it comes to that. And Gen Zs, if you do surveys or you ask them, okay, where do you spend your time? Is it like still watching TV or listening to radio? So brands struggle to reach them through conventional channels. And this is where esports is coming in and gives great opportunities.
100%, and I think this is a good segue to move on to our main topic for the panel, which is the challenges. So I think Paul is very concerned about the challenges as well, and what he mentioned definitely falls under the category. There are a lot of distinct challenges to the MENA region, particularly that hinder the full potential of esports. For example, on my personal experience, I've noticed that cultural perception in particular, or societal norms, have hindered the full acceptance and participation of esports for the people here. And that's something that we definitely need to work on. From my personal experience, I actually studied dentistry. So I did 7 long years of dentistry, got my dental degree, and then I said, nope, this is not for me. I want to go and pursue my passion for gaming. So I became an esports host and so heavily involved in gaming. And of course, my parents were perplexed. What's going on? And support really wasn't one of the things that I received from them. So my question is going to be for Aravind for now, until someone else wants to add to it. What are the key challenges specific to our region, and how were they overcome? Or rather, if you went through a personal experience, how did you overcome that?
I think one of the biggest challenges I faced was, so just for reference, when we started as a small gaming club in university. We used to run gaming tournaments in university, and it was easy getting sponsors because you have the entire university footfall, you have people coming from outside, and it's already, the base is already laid, right? Essentially, we're selling like a convention. We're not selling a singular esports event. So once we kind of started Calyx and went outside to actually sell what we're running, that's when I think me personally, I was hit with the truth that sponsors don't actually know what gaming is. Just for reference, no one knows what esports is. And at least when we started, literally not a single brand knew it. And I think that's where the major challenge was, is that making them understand the education part of it, the bridge to bridge the gap that was between the brands that wanted to get these Gen Z crowd, at the same time the people who are already close to them, just you couldn't bridge the gap. And I think that was pretty much one of the biggest challenges that we still face, actually, because not all brands understand it. Right now, all the brands are like, esports is a good keyword to use. It's a tick mark in their checkbox, but I think very few brands actually understand what they're getting into and what they're trying to achieve out of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about before the sort of the long-term sustainability, and I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges. If you take away the Saudi dollars from the equation, esports in MENA's probably mostly dead, probably relegated to being a secondary or tertiary market. I think there are other structural issues or more core issues, though, which are related to who's the actual audience. What are we putting esports on a stage for? Or who are we putting esports on a stage for? Is it for the young demo and the Gen Zs that live in the region and we want them to come and spend their money and be entertained? Is it we want to attract tourism to the region and this is one way? I think that's the Saudis' hope. And so the question is, who's the audience? And in some ways, esports still doesn't know itself in this region. There's part of the crowd that wants this to bring tourism and part of the crowd that wants to address the local population. And I think that makes it fragmented in a way that we don't know how to put on a show that's meaningful for any specific audience. I think also with esports, one of the big challenges is the publishers still control just about everything, right? The publishers or the developers, the game developers, have all the control over the game, unlike traditional sports. And so you're still at their mercy, no matter what dollars you throw at it, no matter what you can put forward as an event. At the end of the day, you still need the blessing of the developer, you still need the blessing of the people who made the game, and that's always going to limit what you can do at a grassroots level. Because the Activision Blizzards of the world, the Riots of the world, would rather take millions of dollars to put on a big event than to allow, school teams to put on regional events or community events. There's this grassroots problem that I think is core to those esports challenges.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge we are facing in esports is actually what you just said already. It's so in the press and media, it's referred to the esports winter. Yeah, there are many challenges esports is facing, like monetizing view, then revenue distribution, the power of publishers, and so on. But so I hope now for the MENA region, as MENA, of course, has its own agenda, but it seems to do this with open doors. Yeah, so we now see a lot of experts being invited and huge projects announced, which is really excited. So I hope for the MENA region, instead of just playing the game, it's writing the new playbook of an esports 2.0 or 3.0, however we want to call it.
Definitely have to agree with you guys there. It is quite difficult to, promote the community and whatnot when you have to go through the developers and the publishers. But what's great is that a lot of the publishers and developers are starting to have offices locally, which allow us, to be in touch with them more. It might not be easy as we thought, but it's definitely more accessible. And I think that's the step in the right direction. Speaking of the Saudi dollars that Paul loves to bring up, let's talk about the government involvement in the esports industry. So as we know, involvement of the government is quite crucial, and it can represent as a very significant catalyst for the growth and development of esports in our region. And just because they recognize esports as an industry, it doesn't just allow an environment for investment, but it also legitimizes gaming in the public eye. And I think that's very crucial when it comes to overcoming challenges in our region. For example, we know that Saudi has invested billions of dollars, but also the UAE, they host the Dubai Police Esports Tournament, which is organized by 404 Esports, and they have one of the biggest prize pools in our region, and it just provides a healthy outlet for gaming enthusiasts, and it also just lets people know that gaming is okay and this is the step in the right direction and we should be investing in it. So we really admire the UAE for having that involvement. But other MENA countries are, they see gaming in a negative manner. So my question to you guys is, how can the government involvement either hinder or facilitate the development of esports in the MENA region?
I mean, I spend a lot of my time with governments. That's most of what I do during the day these days. So I've consulted with the Saudi government, with the Abu Dhabi government. I'm on the working committee in Dubai for their gaming and esports program. I can tell you from a dollar perspective, nothing's even close to Saudi Arabia, right? Like we're talking about multiple orders of magnitude difference in terms of investment. I believe government investment, again, props up the industry artificially. If it disappears, esports in the region disappears. It's not something that's going to survive without those government dollars. The question becomes, will they see a return on those investments that convinces them to continue to keep investing? And I think today, the jury's out on that. I think you've seen Abu Dhabi pull back quite a bit this year, just at the beginning of this year. So they have question marks around what they're doing around esports. I think Saudi has so much more money that we will continue to see them invest. But at some point, I think they will have the same come to Jesus moment where they need to decide if this is really what they want to be doing. I personally think from a pure financial investment perspective, it's a mistake. There's a lot of other ways to win in gaming in the region. And I wish governments were more focused on grassroots building of an ecosystem, you know, having 1,000 or 2,000 gaming startups rather than putting on one huge event that will never be as big as, you know, League of Legends World Championships in Asia anyways. So why do we want to be an also-ran?
I feel like I agree partially with that. The part that I don't agree with is I sort of understand why they're doing the whole Saudi push, right? Essentially, it's perception change, right? It's to kind of change the idea of what the place is, essentially for the next generation. And again, I don't know, from a business perspective, only they have the numbers to tell you whether it's worth it, whether it's not. But from what you've seen or what I've seen from a ground level, in terms of the events that are run there, from the things that happen during during Gamers 8 or EWC, during Riyadh season, etc. It is a really great approach, and it's fun to see or interesting to see the kind of approach that they're taking, you know, with the whole bringing everyone from outside to Saudi to kind of facilitate these tournaments inside Saudi and so on. But what people don't understand is that's not the only thing they're doing. They actually, in fact, we've been working with the Esports Federation for about 3.5 years now, where they not only facilitate the global tournaments that they run, but also the local grassroots ones. And a lot of them, in fact, not just myself, but there are a few more partners that we work with who are all in Saudi during July, August, and September, just because they facilitate all of this within that beautiful arena and within that space. I feel like there are question marks when it comes to business, just like you said, but from a larger perspective, it really does support the overall ecosystem. And I feel like at some point, I wouldn't say it's going to stop. I don't think the tap is going to stop, but I feel like they're going to look for the bucket, whether it's filled or not. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's a small sample, but like, raise your hand if you heard of the Esports World Cup in Saudi or Gamers 8. If you just heard of it, you saw it somewhere. Like 2 hands. If the goal is winning hearts and minds, if the goal is a marketing exercise to the world, to me, again, relatively small sample size. I don't know if N is great enough to be statistically significant here, but this is, I would call a failure.
But let me just chime in on this. Yeah. So for the Esports World Cup, yes, it's announced and will take place in summer in Riyadh. Now, what's different to any other events before is like already now we see 5 games confirmed. Now, surprisingly, 2 out of the 5 games are mobile games. Yeah, and we know that MENA and Asian regions are very heavy on mobile games. So there are some changes already where I think we have to wait and see how these things play out. Also, in terms of expertise, yeah, like now the CEO of the World Cup is Ralf Reichert. He's former ESL CEO. That's one of the biggest esports productions that exist. And so I think that's, I mean, like, we still have to wait and see how it plays out, but I think they are really ambitious about this to get this thing going. And then the question is, okay, will the first event going to be a big success? Yeah, also you referred to the League of Legends Worlds. It took them decades to get there. I mean, like last year we had viewership records, yeah? That was a major event in South Korea. I also wonder if we would ask that question, like in the beginning, okay, who is into esports? Who knows what esports is? Probably that would be like different voting from an audience in South Korea. Yeah, so there's nuances to different markets, but there's changes happening right now. Yeah, and also like I'm really excited about the changes in the MENA region, like the upcoming World Cup.
Now that I have you, Benedikt, I think we're going to go straight into the topic of analytics, which is your expertise. So analytics, as we know, it plays a pivotal role when it comes to strategic decisions, when optimizing players' performance as well as team performance. And you can get valuable insights into many aspects of esports, including trends and whatnot. So tell me, as a professional in analytics, what are the trends currently and what are the key metrics to measure sponsorship success?
Yeah, so if you follow esports news, yeah, and you would maybe like put aside 10 event articles that report about events, you're going to find one common thing, and that's viewership. Yeah, and also Paul pointed this out rightfully, like in the beginning. It's actually like we have to ask us the question now, is viewership justifying like millions of dollars when it comes to sponsorships? Yeah, so I emphasize on data, and so brands actually want to look beyond viewership. Now, the interesting thing is like, so let's say you have 100,000 viewers. The first thing you want to check is, are you reaching the right audience? Yeah, whether it's geographically or demographics. Then is it also like the question, okay, how visible was your brand? How many times did it appear on stream? Now, let's say I would introduce a new Monster Energy flavor. Do the people talk about it in the chat function? Was there a positive or negative sentiment to it? Yeah, and then basically this is top funnel analysis. You would also like look further down the funnel and check for like brand perception has maybe changed, an uplift in sales, traffic on website, and so on. So, so the message I would say here is like, so if you're thinking about investing into esports, make sure at the exploration and budgeting phase you would also already consider data and then make data-informed decisions, moving into esports and then optimizing along the way.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights. We are running out of time, so with the last question, just stick to one sentence if you can. So where do you see MENA Esports in the next 10 years in comparison to the global scale? Paul, let's start with you. One sentence. Can you do it?
I'm skeptical. But if you come back at 4:30, I'm going to talk about the future of fun, which I think is not esports. So.
All right, Aravind.
I feel essentially some of the biggest IPs to be hosted in the MENA. That includes Worlds, like he said, Call of Duty Championship, all of them pretty much just moving to the MENA because just it's going to be the leader, I feel.
Benedikt, any closing statements?
So one technology thing that I'm currently observing or like that I'm excited about, and I think that could benefit the region here in MENA is basically like, I think people still to some extent struggle to have access to devices like gaming hardwares and stuff like this. I think a game changer to some extent could be cloud gaming, yeah, where you basically just need like a screen, and then it would also allow, I think, many more people in MENA to first fall in love with the game and then fall in love with esports.
All right, thank you so much to our panelists. I know there's so much more we want to add on, but we are running out of time. Thank you so much for SiGMA Eurasia for hosting this panel. And moving forward, I hope that we can provide more diversity, inclusivity, and overall excellence in the community in esports. So thank you so much, everybody.